Hello, everyone. Let's start our discussion for this morning. So we are now on chapter 8 of our subject, IT 320. So we are on unit 4, and our topic for this morning is about Internet Server API. Before we go to our discussion, our objectives are as follows. Number 1, discuss the importance of Internet Server API in system integration and architecture. The second is value the importance of Internet Service or Server API. And number 3 is understand the basic concepts of Internet Server API. Now, this is on our topic for API, and we all know that last time we discussed about some clarifications on how are we going to use API, no? But now, let's move to another phase of API development for that is using Internet servers. Okay. So the Internet Server Application Programming Interface, this is called your ASP, no? And ASP is an application for the server which uses API. Now it is also a entire API of Internet Information Service, or what we call your IIS. And of course, sino pa balaya maubra kadaya it's Microsoft, no? And it is the collection of Windows-based web server services. Now we need to discuss about this because as we all know, guys, of course, 80% of the computers around the world are still using on Microsoft platform. So we cannot do away with some applications, although we also use Linux and Unix operating systems, but that is on company-based applications or company-level applications. That's because companies would want to use broader-like interfaces and more secure environment for their everyday use, no? Sa applications nanda. Of course, Windows can also coexist with Linux servers. But then again, since compatibility issue has been taken a toll with applications that we're going to install in our computer units, therefore we can say that we are still using Windows-based environment platforms. So one of these, as I've told you, is ISAPI, no? And this is Microsoft Web Server Application Software. And in the shortcut of this, what we call your IIS gani, or the Internet Information Services. Ano daya? So what is this? So this is made up of a number of sub-applications, and it is very configurable because it uses ASP.NET, which is one slice of IIS. So when you are using ASP.NET as a backbone of maskin gani sa mga laptop lang ninyo, so dayan na dyan, you are still going to use ASP.NET. Though the counterpart of ASP.NET is your Java applications or Java environment applications. However, as I've said, these two can coexist. However, kalabanan gid, or most of the platforms that we're still using is run on the Windows or Microsoft applications platform. Now, for ASP.NET, it allows the programmer to write web applications in their choice of programming language. So either you're going to use VB.NET sa una, C#, of course, ginagamit natin C#, F#, kag iban gid. So basta lang, it is supported by Microsoft.NET or the CLR. So the shortcut for ISAPI, or the ISAPI itself, is a much lower programming language or programming system compared to them, giving much better performance at the expense of simplicity. So we have here some concepts of ISAPI applications. And ISAPI applications consist of two components. These are extensions and filters. Okay. Later on, we will discuss these two. In the meantime, these are the only two types of applications that can be developed using ISAPI. So, of course, filters and extension must be compiled into DLL files, which are then registered with IIS to be run on the web server. For your information lang guys, the DLL files are files which are found in your Windows library and directory. Of course, kung madura ang DLL files ninyo guys, some of the DLL files are of course system files. And sa kanang-una, sa Windows XP, if ever nga mabirusan ang computer ninyo, ang first nga ginatake ka virus is the DLL files. And these DLL files are found on your libraries. So kung madura daya, yung ginahimo para mag-run ang is the rescue disk. At the same time, pwede man nga reinstall ninyo ang XP nga karang una hapos-hapos lang gid mag rescue ka Microsoft XP no sir no mapos lang gid Microsoft XP. It's because simply lang katama ang installation kagamay ang ana nga installation package. 700 MB lang sulod sa isa ka CD. Pero tulad, samtang nagabuhay-buhay ang nag-hire ang version ka Windows naton, tulad Windows 11, hindi na ma-pirate. Hindi naman mabutangan ka mga encryption nga nang pwede ma-activate nga sa lang. Kay guys, we are migrating from standalone computer systems to a server sa web. So sa orihi, base ang Windows 12 naton, may huring-huring ka mga marites nga Windows 12 naton is already cloud-based, meaning hindi doon siya standalone. So you need, if it is cloud-based, meaning you are going to use the internet para mapaandar ninyo ang computer ninyo. So again, going back to our discussion with ISAP application, this can be written using any language which allows the export of standard C functions. So, example of this is C programming language, no? So, I hope you have a background on C programming. C++, which is ginhimo naton sa last sang may mga application kita nga C++ and C# sa inyong subject sa ITAS 1 or ITPE 1. Okay. So Delphi, another programming language is Delphi, which uses ISAP. So these are the couple of library available which help to ease the development of ISAP application. And in Delphi palang, Delphi is a sort of attachment for Pascal programming language, no? So the intra-web components of web applications development, and it includes classes of developing ISAP applications. So additionally, there is the ATL server technology, which includes C++ library, and it is dedicated to developing ISAP applications. So magambal ka mong extensions. These are the true applications that run on IIS. And they have the access to all the functionality provided by, of course, your IIS. So again, IIS is the short term for Internet Information Service. Okay. Kung hindi nyo pa ma-config, or what is ganyan, mangpan ang kung anong ginatawag ng IIS, makadto ka mo sa figure 21 ninyo guys, module, and you can see there API providing services to an application. So that is an example of an IIS. Yung Google Map ninyo, yung YouTube ninyo, yung Flickr, Twitter, Facebook. So those are some applications that are IIS, no? So it is a collection based of web services. Anything gina-deploy sa web is IIS. Amo lang nakasimple guys. Whereas nga sa filter naman, the filters are used to modify or enhance the functionality provided by IIS. And they always run on an IIS server, and it is filter every request until they find one. When they do, they need to be processed, and filters can be programmed to examine and modify both incoming and outgoing streams of data. So internally, the internally programmed and externally configured priorities determine in which order filters are called. So sometimes these filters are very useful in such a way that they need to put a traffic on the web services that is being put in and out of your system. So just like, because when you are going to plug and play a modem, for example, nagbakal ka mo ka modem para sa online class ninyo. So PLDT siya or Globe na siya. Basta may modem ka mo. So gintakod mo sa ano ninyo. So guys, you will notice that sometimes mahinay siya ang pagsulod kagwa ka data because of filters. And these filters are predominant and implemented as DLL. They are hosted on your IIS server, including the interaction for the DLL inside your computer units. So nag-synchronize na sanda. And filters are initialized when the worker process is started and listens to all requests to the site on which it is installed. So ano yung kinalain ka inyong extension kag filter? Of course, the extensions are true applications. So, mga true applications na sila yan. Those are applications, apps ninyo. So, ano yung apps na makita ninyo sa cellphone nyo? So, mumanda yung makita nyo din sa extension. Whereas, ang filter naman, these are function provided by the IIS and they need to be processed, be programmed, and examine and modify incoming and outgoing data. So, muna ka nalain ka extension ka filter. Kaya, guys so sometimes paano i-extension naton may mga filter daya or yung filter ninyo extension daya. Okay, sabto naton. Yung extension ninyo may filter daya, pero ang filter ninyo hindi na siya extensions necessarily. So sometimes they're not extension, they're applications. So sometimes application na sila, hindi sila extension. Although ang extension ninyo application man, pero hindi may mga filter daya. Okay. Okay. So now let's go to figure 22 and figure 23 because figure 22 is the common ISAPI application. Basahon natin, makita nyo man di sa right side. And your figure 23 is the ISAPI compared to CGI. So CGI is your computer graphic interface. And of course, lain na siyang CGI compared sa GUI. Your GUI is the more on interfacing because your GUI is ang una ninyong ginagamit para mag-interact sa computer ninyo. GUI na sa. Whereas ang CGI naman is computer graphics interface. These are extra applications that is embedded in your computer to take a task of something that is needed for graphical user interfacing. So CGI naman, before we go to ISAPI applications, the CGI has the Internet Service Applications Programming Interfacing model, and it is developed on a faster alternative to the common gateway interface. And this provides a number of advantages over CGI, including lower overhead, faster loading, and better scalability. So comparing ISAPI to CGI. And of course, the chief difference between CGI and ISAPI are the programming models and how processing is handled. So mas malasig ang ISAPI compared sa CGI. Now let's go to ISAPI applications. So this is the list of common ISAPI applications which are implemented as ISAPI extensions. So the first one will be the active server pages or your ASP. So these are installed as standard for any web services. So ang common lang ninyo guys, when you are going to type, like for example, yahoo.com on your URL, you are integrating your active server pages. So these are installed as standard, meaning standard na nga daan. So ang what you see is what you get. Ang makita mo, amo da ayagwa na. So kung yahoo.com na siya, so yahoo.com nga interface. Iya makita nyo. And number 2 is active VFP or the active Visual Fox Pro installed on IIS. Visual Fox Pro is a programming language man. And it is one of karang unang ginagamit before ang ASP ninyo. And this one is not so interactive because ang pinaka ano nilang gid siguro ang pinaka nag-evolve lang na example ka Visual Fox Pro ninyo is ang sa PHP ninyo tulad. So karang una kung may Visual Fox Pro, subong may PHP. Number 3, ASP.NET installed as standard on IIS 6.0 onwards. Don't worry about this. ASP.NET is just a backbone of your applications on any Windows-based applications. Without ASP.NET, some of the programs are required for you to run ASP.NET. Kaya hindi nyo pwede ma-open or ma-configure ang iban nga services kung hindi ninyo ma-installan ka ASP.NET. So number 4 is the Cold Fusion, or later called the Cold Fusion for installable IIS. When we speak about Cold Fusion, this is application which is later, the version for Cold Fusion is dependable on IIS. If you're going to Google Cold Fusion, you will be confused because may dyan nga Cold Fusion application na makita nyo sa YouTube. But Cold Fusion is an application for development, and of course this is substituted by the Microsoft applications, and it is also part of IIS. Now, may ginatawag pagkikita nga Perl. Ang Perl naman is another application for web. Of course, ang last naman is PHP. So, muna siya ang common is API applications. Nowadays, PHP kag Perl ang pinaka-common. Okay, so the last topic for this morning is about ASP Development. And gamay lang gid ng mga paragraph daya, guys, no? So let me read na lang. ASP application can be developed using any development tool that can generate the Windows DLL. Basta maka-generate lang ka Windows DLL. So tandaan niyo, again, go back to our discussion. Ang DLL files, these are library files which are found on your system files sa computer ninyo. And kung madura ng mga DLL files, tipok gid hindi do mag-run niya computer nyo. So you need to install Windows kinahanglan nyo gyapon mag-install ka Windows maskin ano nga version ka Windows. And wizards for generating ASP framework applications have been available in Microsoft Development Tools since Visual C# or C++ 4.0. And the Internet Server Application Programming Interface makes it easier to write database application like any entry system for order forms or for a custom catalog. So with ASP, a programmer can collect information from a user through an HTML form and then return a page which has been customized for that user. Okay. So, do you have any questions, guys, regarding our topic before we proceed? Can you just raise your hands? Okay. So, okay. Thank you for your reaction, guys. Si Roda gid pinakuna nag-raise. It means nga nagapamatic mo ka discussion natin. Okay. So thank you for your reaction. Let's go back to our activity number 8 so that we can finish our discussion this morning. Now for your activity 8, may dyan mo kadaya. I think what you're going to do is to install, use, and code a sample program in Visual Studio 2022. I hope nga medayan pa tong mga activity ninyo sa Visual Studio karang nagligad tuig. So you have to only choose one, isa lang, and what you're going to do is to compile it, run, and make a screenshot of that program. So because the applications that you can find in Visual Studio is actually comprised of your ASP.NET integration. So that is the reason why I choose to have your activity like this, no? So this one, the reason for this is because may dyan duman ka mga daan nga Visual Studio, and I think Visual Studio cannot be run without ASP.NET. So meaning it's all good if you have some applications nga dayan mga daan. Maskin ano lang, guys, screenshot lang nga nag-run siya. Ang code, ang screenshot, tapos ang pag-run ninyo kag ang final output mo lang da. So upload it in your Google Classroom, no? Convert it to PDF first and label it as activity number 8, okay? So tama kapos ang activity ninyo. Okay, so for your summary, you can just read your module, ari siya. If you want to check out some information more on server IIS and Server Application Programming Interface, ASP, just copy paste this into your URL and you'll be directed to that website. For a video on YouTube, you can actually watch this one. That is a C# basics tutorials. And for further study, these are the references. So that ends our discussion for this morning. And for your information, I'm also recording our activity in FreeCam Studio because ang Google Meet natin guys wala na sang recording, no, but it's all good. We can still record this. I'm still here in the faculty room. You may hear noises on my background, but it's okay. Anyway, if you missed out on something on a lecture kagina, or you have not what's this gonna listen to our topic or our discussion, you may again replay the video of the discussion for this morning. For your classmates naman, they can see the video later on. I will post this in your activity, in your FB group. So do you have any questions, guys? Clarifications or discussions on ISAPI and other applications development regarding .NET, ASP.NET, and Windows-based DLLs? So I hope that you learned something this morning. Let me produce a screenshot as your attendance on our subject. So thank you very much, guys, for attending our class. I think that is all. Other than that, if you have questions, you can post it in your chat box if you don't want to say something. Oh, nothing man. Oh, sige. So thank you guys for attending our class this morning, no? See you next meeting. And hopefully I can finish your quiz. Later on, you can check out your quiz. Today is Friday. You have 2 quizzes to take. The last week's quiz and today's quiz. However, if I cannot finish the quiz today, you can take it tomorrow na lang siguro. So before we have our midterm exam, I think may isa pa ka week, no? Kung hindi ako magsala, kay namangkot pa ko kung saan yung midterm daw, why pa man sandan nagambal ko saan o. But since we are 18 weeks in one semester, I assume next week will be our 9th week already. After the 9th week, that will be your midterm. So maskin sanda hambal or hindi, ma-midterm taton ha after ka next week. Dang yung midterm supposedly will be meeting naton sa isa ka semester supposedly will be 18 weeks. So kung i-divide yun sanda guys, tag 9 weeks. 9 weeks for midterm, 9 weeks for final. So if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so thank you very much for attending our class. Thank you guys, and see you next meeting. Okay, I'll stop the recording guys and thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye guys.